Ya Ali Madad, welcome, bienvenue, and welcome to Summer Reflections. My name is Medina Azizi and I'm very happy to be joining you all once again. I would like to express Eid Mubaraki to each one of you. I know this Eid was in the middle of the week and most of us were busy with work, but I hope you had a chance to celebrate it with your family and friends. As we mentioned last week, Friday Night Reflections will be taking a break for the summer and will be inshallah back in the fall in a more modified way. Over the next few weeks, we will be using this space to bring forward some of our best programming and insightful interviews and a couple of never before seen pieces. So I hope you're looking forward to that. Tonight, we will take a trip down memory lane to Maulana Hazar Imam's Diamond Jubilee visit to Canada with a film called Canada, Our Home. The film chronicles the Jamaat's history and progress in Canada. As we approach next year, the 50th anniversary of the Jamaat's first major settlement in Canada, this is a perfect time to reflect on our past and envision and promises and adventures that the next 50 years might bring. I truly hope you enjoy the program.
In 1957, Sir Sultan Muhammad Shah, in his will, named his 20-year-old grandson to succeed him as the 49th hereditary Imam of the Shia Ismaili Muslims. He gave his reasons. In view of the fundamentally altered conditions in the world in very recent years, including the discoveries of atomic science, I am convinced that it is in the best interest of the Shia Muslim Ismailia community that I should be succeeded by a young man who has been brought up in the midst of the new age and who brings a new outlook on life to his office as Imam. At this young age, Prince Karim inherited the responsibility as the Imam or spiritual leader of 15 million Ismaili Muslims, today living all over the world. My religious responsibilities begin as of today, he vowed.
Less than 8 weeks are left before the deadline runs out. 8 weeks in which, according to General Amin, 65,000 Asians must leave Uganda. So far, only a handful have gone. The rest spend day after day waiting in queue after queue. They queue for tickets, they queue for permits, they queue at ministries, they queue at the bank, but still they can't get out. In Kampala, the Asians are dazed and frustrated. The new threat that if they fail to leave before the deadline, they'll be sent into concentration camps run by the army turns anxiety into fear.
शाम मुझे याद आए जिस शाम को मौला आए मैं गाता रहा लहराता रहा अनमोल खुशी के तराने वो शाम मुझे याद आए वो कैसी सजी थी मौला की मस्ती हर दिल में थी वो तख्त पे आकर बैठे सब आंखें खुशी से छलकने लगी वो हंसते रहे वो लुटाते रहे अनमोल रूहानी खजाने वो शाम मुझे याद आए।
We take pride in being an organized community. This characteristic has served us well in Canada, where the great majority living here today arrived just 6 years ago, having been expelled from Uganda almost overnight by President Idi Amin.
Private residence, a family home, at once imposing and discreet, where tonight the head of the family is holding a reception on the eve of an anniversary. This is the family of the Aga Khan, who 25 years ago succeeded to the imamate of the Shia Imami Ismaili Muslims.
This is the first project to be launched during this Jubilee year. And it is very important that it is a place of worship. The significance of this ceremony is further enhanced by the fact that this is the first Jamaat Khana to be built in North America. It is my hope that it will become a symbol of a growing understanding in the West of the real meaning of Islam.
A major milestone, I believe, gave us a sense of stability was the building of the Ismaili Center in Vancouver.
Our philosophy, our values are reflected in this architecture. A building such as this is a complement to Vancouver, to our nation, and to our civilization. And today, when I tell the leadership of the community, and you, sir, that today we gather together to celebrate the opening of a building marked by subtlety and grace, and we do so with pride and affection.
Great pleasure to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Laws honoris causa in McMaster University with all the rights and privileges pertaining to that degree.
Let me emphasize that Canada remains for the rest of the world an enviable haven, a haven of peace and of immense natural beauty and wealth. The wealth I speak of is not merely its natural resources, but the peoples of Canada, steeped in your tradition of tolerance, generosity, and compassion, in alleviating human suffering and respect for diversity of thought and culture.
1992 has been a memorable year for the Canadian Jamaat. The Jamaat was privileged to have Maulana Hazar Imam honor us with a 14-day visit in August, where he met with the Canadian Jamaats across the country. This was a particularly fitting climax to an historic year, which marked not only the silver jubilee of the Aga Khan Foundation, but also the 20th anniversary of major settlement of Ismailis in Canada.
Whereby the Imamate institutions guaranteed the first 25% of any loan losses, resulted in the establishment of 1,000 businesses for the Jamaat within 3 years. And today we are a highly respected business community. And I would say we've got the jump start to the business loans guarantee program.
20 years ago, Khudawin, we had no Jamaat Khanas, no institutions. Question that was foremost in our minds was, where will the next meal come from, and what does the future hold for us? Well, that was then. Today, through visionary and inspiring leadership, we have established ourselves as Ismaili Muslims in Canada.
And then, of course, in the 1990s, there was a massive migration of the Afghan Jamaat into Canada, which was a very exciting inflection point for the Canadian Jamaat, because the Canadian Jamaat, for the very first time, allowed us as a community to not only talk about pluralism, but to practice it. The Jamaat has been very fortunate in Canada in that it encompasses Jamaats from around the world. And we have had waves of settlement in the country, from the East African Jamaat, from the Indian and Pakistani Jamaat, from the Afghan Jamaat, Syrian, Tajik, Iranian Jamaats, and other Jamaats also. Because our country accepts people of differences, and the Jamaat, of course, as a family, has been able to integrate.
Indeed, the arrival and settlement of the Jamaat from Central Asia was a milestone for the Canadian Jamaat, as it was different from the previous migration from East Africa. The Central Asian Jamaat, primarily from Afghanistan, was from a different tradition, different culture, and different background.
With glowing hearts,
we see thee rise.
The true North,
strong
and free.
Being an Ismaili in Canada,
I'm proud to represent my hometown
of Uganda,
Pakistan,
Burkina Faso,
of Portugal,
Tanzania,
Madagascar,
Syria,
India,
and Afghanistan.
We stand together
with our hand on our heart
as one Jamaat.
I would say that the most significant milestone in my mind has been the successful settlement of the Jamaat in Canada, which has allowed the Imamat and the AKDN institutions to be able to accomplish and have accomplished what they have been able to do. Knowledge transfer, establishment and relationships with institutions of higher education, our relationships with the government of Canada. All of these, I think, have been there due to the establishment, presence, influence, capacity of the Jamaat in Canada.
The Jamaat in Canada has progressed incredibly well. I think that the primary reason for that is Maulana Hazrat Imam's guidance, his hand on the Jamaat, his love and affection for the community.
It is the 11th of July, 2007. We are here at Aiglemont in Gouvieux, France, the residence and secretariat of Maulana Shah Karim Al-Husseini Hazrat Imam.
Educating women is an absolutely fundamental pillar to the building of civil society. And the wider spectrum of issues then today is not only supporting the profession of nursing, it's supporting the further building of civil society. And I particularly want to say to the young people who performed this evening how happy and proud I am, not only of the show that they demonstrated, but of the remarkable talent that they showed all of us this evening. And that is another sign of a great civilization, is talent in art, talent in expression. So to all of them, I express my warm gratitude and my deep admiration.
The establishment of the major projects into Canada, the delegation of Ismaili Mamad, the first of its kind, Global Center for Pluralism, first of its kind, Khan Museum, first of its kind, Ismaili Center, second Ismaili Center in Canada. So this shows Imam's confidence into Canada. He started putting anchors in Canada.
Your Highness the Aga Khan, in recognition of your role as an inspiring leader and humanitarian, for your contributions to promote mutual understanding and compassion, and for your work as a global activist for civilized humanity and universal values, I desire to confer upon you the honorary degree of Doctor of Laws, and to express the hope that we shall continue to be enriched by your wise counsel for many years to come. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, how symbolic is it that Maulana Hazrat Imam was honored by Canada by making him a citizen of our country? I mean, what a great honor for us as Canadians to say that our fellow citizen is our Imam of the time. That's so exciting and so special for us.
If I may say so, sir, you sound like a Canadian. Now, I mention this because, in fact, you are. Welcome to our home and native land, Your Highness. It is now and forever your home as well.
Canada should be very proud that he has chosen us as the center for this work, which he holds very dear to his heart. On behalf of all Canadians, I thank him for this. We could have no finer citizen, and we could have no finer bearer of the motto of the Order of Canada, they desire a better country. With the Aga Khan and what he represents, we are a better country.
You may know that I recently became a citizen of Canada at the gracious invitation of the Canadian government. That honor made me feel even more closely as part of the Canadian family, even as this honor today makes me feel more closely a member of Canada's architectural family. Thank you. Our partnership in Canada has been immensely strengthened, of course, by the presence for more than 4 decades of a significant Ismaili community. Like most historical global communities, the Ismaili peoples have a variegated history, but surely our experience in Canada has been a particularly positive chapter. I happily recall the establishment of the delegation of the Ismaili Imamate here in 2008, and the Prime Minister's description that day of our collaborative efforts to make Canada, and I quote, the headquarters of the global effort to foster peace, prosperity, and equality through pluralism. Thank you.
Your Highness, 4 years ago, we stood together on this very site for the foundational ceremony of the Ismaili Center, Aga Khan Museum and Park. I said then that these projects promise to be another stunning addition to Canada's growing array of architectural treasures. We celebrate today the fact that that ambitious promise is now a splendid reality.
This is indeed a magnificent day. It is not often that we have an opportunity of this sort to come together in a beautiful setting, in a wonderful spirit of friendship, and to dedicate such a splendid architectural accomplishment. As we inaugurate this building, we also have the opportunity to contemplate what it represents: the inspiring traditions of the past, the stirring challenges of the future, and the continuing search for peace through prayer. Canada, of course, has become a significant newer homeland for our community, as Ismailis have come here from so many places, all choosing to develop their destinies under the Canadian flag. I hope you will join me in my profound happiness in recalling the cradle of friendship in which this center has been born. And I know that all of you will also share my profound wish that the center will now prolong, decade after decade, its beautiful legacy of friendship and enlightenment. One of the ways in which the Ismailis have expressed their identity wherever they have lived is through their places of prayer, known today as the Jamaat Khana. We have been inspired by a great sense of common purpose as we have sought to create places and spaces of true enlightenment.
These buildings are going to be around for centuries. And the Jamaat settlement in Canada and the countries will go through up and down, right? Economic ups and downs, political ups and downs, and so on. And through all of that, to have this symbol of the anchor or the symbol of our presence, permanent presence, also has a very powerful sense of hope.
What a pleasure it is to welcome you to this exceptional place on this most special day. Exceptional because we are inaugurating today not one, but two new and unique buildings, facing each other across a new and unique park, two utterly unusual pieces of architecture, housing surprising reflections of beauty. This is also a special moment because of the special role that we expect the Aga Khan Museum to play as a gateway into the history and artistic traditions of the Muslim world, nearly a fifth of humanity, and for those non-Muslims and even Muslims who wish better to understand that world.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the inauguration of the Aga Khan Park.
In the first place, of course, we celebrate a striking new connection between the two buildings we dedicated last year. The Aga Khan Park now connects those buildings in a special way, not just as a passageway or empty space between two structures, but as a work of art in its own right. The park grows out of the inspiration of its Lebanese architect, Vladimir Jurovic, and I think you will agree that it possesses its own strong artistic identity.
These beautiful buildings, whether it's the Ismaili centers in Toronto and Burnaby,
whether it's the Aga Khan Museum, the parks, the gardens. I think they are buildings that contribute to the identity of the community. It says that we are here, and we are here to stay.
How do Canadian Ismailis differ from Ismailis in other parts of the world?
Well, I think they differ because, amongst other things, they live in Canada, they are Canadians. And in fact, we found it recently, just the way Canadian Ismailis reacted to the idea of voluntary service outside Canada to help other communities build competence, introduce best practice into our institutions, our programs. That sort of generosity, that sort of thinking of others and not just of oneself, to me is very much part of the Canadian psyche. It's not. So in that sense, the community here is Canadian. Its value system is Canadian.
And of course, one of those values is pluralism.
Yes. One's identity need not be diluted in a pluralistic world, but rather fulfilled as one bright thread in a cloth of many colors.
People of faith who so often are seen to be opposed to one another and who have too often in history been engaged in violence are in fact the great allies in the pursuit of beauty, truth, and goodness, and who can be, in the context of a world so filled with violence and hatred, can be beacons of hope and of love. This is what you have consistently done over the years, to bring peace and to bring understanding.
Over the years, Canada has built a close relationship with His Highness the Aga Khan, one based on diversity, friendship, understanding, and respect. Indeed, the values promoted by the Aga Khan are deeply held in Canada, where multiculturalism is our strength and synonymous with our country as the maple leaf. I often say that Canada is stronger not in spite of its differences, but because of them. Well, for half a century, the Aga Khan has shown that about the world. Thank you, Your Highness. Canada and the world are stronger and richer because of your commitment to diversity and to finding common ground, to helping those most vulnerable, and to believing in a better, closer, more inclusive world.
You know, the Imamate institutions have grown over the last 40 years in Canada, starting with the Aga Khan Foundation in 1980. And as our presence has grown in Canada, our relationships at the provincial level and the federal level have also grown.
The depth of His Highness's commitment to diplomacy and pluralism is quite simply profound. A special thank you to His Highness, that great Canadian friend and honorary citizen, for showing such dedication to pluralism and to strengthening Canada's commitment to and leadership of this issue for the world.
What happens at 330 Sussex Drive in the years ahead will radiate well out beyond its walls to the entire world. It symbolizes the spirit of connection. And the spirit of connection, of course, is at the very heart of the Global Center for Pluralism. But even as we celebrate the past today, we're looking ahead with joy and confidence to a particularly exciting future.
often when I see members of the Ismaili community, they start by, as Arif did, thanking me and thanking my father specifically. And I always have to turn it around and say, no, thank you. Thank you for being the embodiment of the vision that my father and so many others had. Thank you for the incredible thank you for showing not just Canadians but the world with and through your success and your devotion both to your own identities but to this shared identity we build as Canadians, what it is to be open and to prosper through being welcoming and engaging with the world and not closing oneself off. You are an extraordinary example of the very best of Canada, and every day I thank you for it.
I'm Nahid Nenshi. I'm the mayor of Calgary, and I am a very proud Ismaili Muslim. And when I think back about all of the guidance that Maulana Hazrat Imam has provided over the years, and in particular, the guidance about how we build communities, how it is not just possible but required to live life both as a dedicated Muslim and a devoted citizen of the countries in which we live. I think about how that has actually guided my path. Certainly growing up in the community, in a place where seva, where service was incredibly important as part of the faith, certainly led me to think about community service as an essential part of life. But the other part is how we, as Ismaili Muslims, can work to improve the communities in which we live. And that's what I've dedicated my life to. And certainly that is because of the inspiration of Maulana Hazrat Imam.
This Canadian spirit resonates with a cherished principle in Shia Ismaili culture, the importance of contributing to one's individual energies on a voluntary basis to improving the lives of others. This is not a matter of philanthropy, but rather self-fulfillment, enlightened self-fulfillment.
As a tangible way to help mark Canada's 150th anniversary of Confederation and the Diamond Jubilee of His Highness the Aga Khan, occurring, of course, in the same milestone year, we wanted to make a commitment to our Canada that reflected an ongoing tradition and ethic of sharing time and knowledge to improve the quality of life in the communities in which we live. We have exceeded our goal. To date, we have delivered 1,127,549 hours to the service of Canadians.
We are the volunteers. My name is Ahir Kurmali. I'm 4 years old. When I grow up, I will be a VC captain.
And my name is Bahar Akbari. I am 9 years old. When I grow up, I want to be a youth lead.
Le temps est arrivé, le temps est arrivé, le temps est arrivé, باغ ما نورانی شده ایا خدا به عصر درخشان خوش آمدی وقت شفاعت و صبح نمایان خوش آمدی साथ रहमत अने बरकत लौशे मोमीनो ना दिलड़ा हर्षे उभराशे मोमीनो ना दिलड़ा हर्षे उभराशे Like the first day of the spring, all sing brighter and brighter and brighter. Fly higher and higher and higher. Aya Maulana, Aya Maulana, Aya Maulana, Aya Maulana. तुम्हारे आने से नूर भरा है,
दिलों में जहानों में आज अश्कों भी रोशन है.
C'est toi qu'on désire voir, soleil de nos espoirs. C'est toi que l'on accueillit, la beauté de l'avenir. Ta lumière nous illumine tous. Et so we shine brighter and brighter and brighter. Fly higher and higher and higher. Aya Maulana, Aya Maulana, Aya Maulana, Aya Maulana. You is our smile, with you is our life, from you is our light, and all throughout time it's through you we unite. No mountain, no river, no desert means that we're always together. Paraje khulya che rahmat ane swargana dwara yo alena bino pyare. So we shine brighter and brighter and brighter. Fly higher and higher and higher. Aya Maulana, 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 Aya Maulana.
We stand united today as your global Jamaat and offer heartfelt Mubarak and infinite Shukrana for your continuous dedication and 60 years of Imamat. For your grace, guidance, mercy, and generosity for the benefit of our global Jamaat.
Ismaili Muslims are celebrating a huge milestone.
And all across our beautiful country, a joyous celebration.
And to prepare for his visit, thousands of community members have been offering up their time to help with the massive setup.
Ya Mawla, we gather at your doorstep, knowing that you hear our longing and are aware of our deepest desire, and that no one leaves your court empty-handed. You are the bestower of bounty, grace, and mercy. Today, with folded hands, we humbly and earnestly beseech you for waju, the glimpse. Ilva, 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 arrive. Ille, 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 arrive. Mara Maula ke neda padarshe, saathe rahmat ane barakat laushe. दिलड़ा हर्षे उभराशे मोमीनो ना दिलड़ा हर्षे उभराशे. Like the first day of the spring, all the beauty that it brings upon the coming of the light is a chance for us to shine brighter and brighter and brighter, fly higher and higher and higher. Darkness gone away, wings of love and a brand new day. Struggling for my words today, but my heart jumps in and begins to sing brighter and brighter and brighter, fly higher and higher and higher. Aya Maulana, Aya Maulana, Aya Maulana, Aya Maulana.
दिलों में जहानों में आज अश्कों भी रोशन है.
C'est toi qu'on désire voir, soleil de nos espoirs. C'est toi que l'on accueillit, la beauté de l'avenir. Ta lumière nous illumine tous, et so we shine brighter and brighter and brighter, fly higher and higher and higher. Aya Maulana, Aya Maulana, Aya Maulana, Aya Maulana. You is our smile, with you is our life, from you is our light, and all throughout time it's through you we unite. No mountain, no river, no desert means that we're always together.
Your Highness, we know, everybody in this crowd knows that you lead by example, that the work that you've done tirelessly for 6 decades has been groundbreaking.
Thank you, Canada. Thank you, Canada, for the advice, the support, the encouragement you've given to our institutions. I see leaders from Canada, Ismaili leaders from Canada, who have come up through the community ranks, who are wonderful examples of Canadian knowledge, Canadian wisdom, Canadian comprehension. So we are building on the best of Canadian values. Mes plus vifs remerciements. Merci. Merci infiniment. Merci beaucoup.
Your presence and grace commands an infinite space, gives us a place where we're